Now, into the ticket office of Disneyland.
Oh boy, let's do this.
Don't think the CIA is going to be trying to hack your second-gen iPod.
I didn't think so. There might have been a lot of illegal music on there. I wouldn't doubt it. But, I mean...
You were supposed to bring death to the flagships, not join them.
Google has found a new way to piss me off.
iTunes is a constant source of embarrassment.
Behind-the-scenes camera crap.
Here, tell us about courage, Phil. Tell us about courage.
I am Nadella. I can't do it anymore without laughing. I was going to do the whole thing.
Welcome, everybody, to the Calling All Platforms podcast. I'm your host today, Caleb. I'm here with Landon.
Hello.
And once again, we are a man short. Wes is not with us. He has got work conflicts. So,
yeah,
we miss you, Wes. We're sad you're not here. He says
mostly.
Work conflicts. It might have been Super Bowl conflicts, let's be honest.
He's hungover now.
He's at a party somewhere. Yeah. So the Super Bowl happened. It just finished. So if we were to talk about it, we would not be spoiling anything. But also, I did not watch it, and I have no idea what happened. So it's not like I'd be able to talk in any authoritative way anyways.
Sports team played the sports ball and scored the sports points.
There were definitely points, and I'm sure that many hot wings were eaten by many people, millions across the country. And that's honestly the greatest triumph.
You know, I am all in favor of making Super Bowl Monday a national holiday. Because
to recover.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a drinker, so I don't need the hangover period, but there's a lot of people that do need that. And
that's true.
You know, it's understandable.
That's true. Yep. I would accept that. I would vote for it. Honestly, I would vote in favor of that just because it's a day off work.
Exactly.
I don't even care. It's all whatever. I don't watch the Super Bowl and I don't drink, so it doubly doesn't affect me. But whatever. I'll have a Super Bowl party. I'll turn on the game in the background and play board games while it's on or something like that. I don't care. It's a reason to have a party, then I will take it. Anyways, something that I do pay attention to a little bit and actually can speak authoritatively on, however, is, tech news. So let's talk about tech news. I think, honestly, Landon has probably got the biggest piece of tech news for us here this week. So we're going to go ahead and start with Landon.
Yeah, 2 weeks in a row, hardware news.
Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of that time of year. February is, one of those, it's the weird time where there's actually news in between two periods of nothing.
Yeah.
And it's all usually just Samsung, but OnePlus decided to join the game this year. And they announced the OnePlus 11, also a tablet called the OnePlus Pad, which is a worse name than
original.
The iPad even. And they also announced OnePlus's the Buds Pro 2, and one of the more interesting parts, a keyboard.
Oh.
But let's talk about the phone first, because that's really the most important thing. It's not the most interesting, but it's the most important one.
Right, yes.
We'll get to the most interesting one next. I'm not going to go in order of importance other than the phone, because yes. So, The OnePlus 11. There's not an 11 Pro. There's not an 11T. There's not, there's just the OnePlus 11. I'm looking at this the same way a lot of people have. OnePlus is kind of going back to their roots and doing what would be called the true flagship killer, in a sense. Kind of like how they used to do it back in the day with the OnePlus 1, the 2, even the 3, and I'd say even up to the 4. And then that's when they kind of lost track of what they were. But this one, they're coming back. So the specs on this, it's got the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, so it's that top-of-the-line chip in there. It's got a 6.7-inch 1440 OLED 120 hertz display, so really good display.
Yep.
8 or 16 gigs of RAM, 128 or 256 gigs of storage, and a 5,000 milliamp hour battery that, from the reviews I've seen, is actually really, really good.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people are getting easily a day, some 2 days of battery on this thing.
Okay.
Which is awesome. And with that, you get 80-watt wired charging, and they include the charging brick and cable in the box that are needed to do that.
What? Charging brick in the box? Wow.
Yeah. And that's in the U.S. Internationally, you can get 100-watt charging. So,
Whoa.
I mean, the battery is already lasting forever on this phone. And then you can charge it for like 20, 30 minutes and go another day and be fine, you know?
Uh-huh.
So,
Dang.
and I mean, OnePlus has been good on the charging for a while, but when you add the really good battery life to that, it's like, when do you need to charge this phone? When you're, getting ready for work in the morning in the shower? I don't know. Like you plug it in before you go to work and then you're good for another day and a half.
Honestly, that's kind of true.
Yeah.
But, cool.
This does have Android 13 and is running Oxygen OS 13. So it's OnePlus's skin that goes on top of it. The cameras on this thing, it's got a 50 megapixel primary sensor, a 48 megapixel ultra wide, and a 32 megapixel telephoto lens with 2x optical zoom. So the telephoto lens isn't anything super fancy compared to other flagships, but the primary sensor is a pretty decent one. The ultra wide is not bad. This is one of the places that they've kind of taken a step back from, not necessarily step back, just not quite as high end as some of your other flagships.
Yeah. They're not necessarily putting the best of the best in there. It's more just the commodity parts.
Right. Your front camera is a 16 megapixel sensor. And then this comes in Titan Black or Emerald Green. And it has an IP64 rating as opposed to the traditional IP67, right? 68? I can't remember.
68 is waterproof.
That's what it is. 68 is the other most flagships. So IP64, it can handle getting, misted, splashed.
Yeah.
But not full immersion. So you're going to want to be a little more careful with this one. But the starting price on this thing is $700. So, like I said, they're kind of going back to their roots where you're getting mostly flagship specs. They're kind of cutting corners in a few spots, but the few spots that they're cutting corners don't really matter, in my opinion. Like the IP64 rating, that's fine.
Yeah.
The cameras, they're still, like the pictures that I've seen come from this phone, especially with the primary sensor, are more than good enough.
Yeah.
And then the price, $700. That's really good.
Yeah, it's the thing that really sucks is that that's now kind of a bargain in the flagship market, but gosh dang it is. And I hate that so much.
It's true, especially when I don't remember exactly what the first OnePlus phone was priced at, but I want to say it was close to like $300.
Yeah.
Because that's when flagships were coming out at like $500.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
It's still cheaper than an iPhone.
Yeah.
Gosh dang it. Frickin' Apple.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Solid contender.
This phone is a looker. I will say that. Mostly because the camera area, like the colors on, like both the black and green are really nice looking colors in my opinion. But the camera is, if you were to take like the Samsung S21, I believe had the metal frame that went into the camera.
Yes.
And combine that with the old Nokia phone that had the ginormous sensor camera bump thing on the back. And then you get this phone because it's got the metal frame goes across to the back and around the camera sensors, but then it also has this giant circular camera bump surrounding the cameras. So it's like, just pick one. And like that part alone is really ugly and I don't like it. But the rest of the phone looks really good. Also, one really key, probably the most important feature on this phone, they brought back the the volume, oh crap, what are they called? The little
the mute switch, the silence switch, vibration switch, I guess is how most people have it implemented on iPhones.
Whatever they call it. But the thing that changes it from ring to vibrate to silent.
Yeah.
They have three options on theirs versus the two.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. And they've always had the three up until like the last 2 years when they didn't have it at all. But they brought that back.
Good.
So, thank you, OnePlus. That was like, that's one of my favorite things about my iPhone is that it has that. I can easily switch it to vibrate without having to take it out of my pocket.
Oh, yeah. No,
it's just, I love it.
I occasionally hear people that are all like, it's not that useful, whatever. And I'm all like, look, Apple doesn't do a lot of things absolutely perfect, but the existence of that switch is one of them. Okay. Yes. And if you're all like, it doesn't matter, I would never use it, it's not that important, stop lying to yourself. It's a bad habit.
Yeah.
Just accept that everybody else is doing it wrong if they don't have that mute switch on there. That thing is so nice to have.
Which is everyone except for iPhone and OnePlus.
Yeah, pretty much.
No other phone has this.
Yep.
And it's one of my favorite features on both of these phones. It's fantastic.
I mean, I went from my first smartphone was an Android phone, and my second smartphone was an iPhone. And that was honestly the most tangible quality of life improvement going from the one to the other, was that I could switch between my ringtone and just vibration, just flipping a switch. It was just click, click, click. And I was like, done. It's so easy.
Yep.
Yep. Well, good for you, OnePlus. That's, I guess maybe we can take that bit about me yelling at OnePlus about joining the dark side out of the intro to the show.
Well, conveniently, the way I put it into the intro is you don't know that it's OnePlus.
It's true. It's not specific. And honestly, it could apply to many different companies, if we're being honest.
I mean, yes, there's a lot of them because of multiple reasons. But OnePlus does appear to be coming back to the light side of the force with multiple things. I mean, the way the phone is spec'd out is good. It brought back the little mute switch. That's awesome. It's got a decent price for what you're getting. Also awesome.
Let's hope that this isn't the bit where they, return to the light side for just long enough, one last hurrah, chuck the Emperor into a pit, and then die. So,
yeah,
hopefully, OnePlus will still be around next year.
I mean, Carl Pei did leave a while ago.
That's true.
Granted, he left when they were starting to go to the dark side because they were going to the dark side. So,
Right. That's true.
All right, so that is the OnePlus 11. I like it. I have heard that Oxygen OS is hit or miss depending on your personal preference when it comes to Android, but that's going to be any Android phone. If you like the user interface of the phone, you're probably going to go with that same update, that same brand and everything, but you should try something else. Branch out a little bit.
Yeah.
Unless you're going from something to Samsung, stay where you're at.
Samsung has enough money. They don't need more.
Yes.
I actually saw a graph somewhere that pointed out that Samsung as an entity by itself is something like 60% of South Korea's entire GDP. Which is ridiculous considering how much money actually goes through South Korea. That's not they're not a poor country.
No.
So basically Samsung is just absurd. And LG is like another 30%, which leaves honestly just like 10% of the entire country's GDP for everyone else.
Well, when you make products in almost every category available, not just in tech, but in general.
Oh yeah.
Then you're going to dominate. And the LG and Samsung are both there. I mean, LG doesn't make phones anymore, but they make everything else that Samsung does.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah.
They make all the things.
They are, like, if you're looking for a straight head-to-head competitor with Samsung, honestly, LG is about as close as you're going to get to somebody who's competing with Samsung in everything.
Yeah.
That's true. I guess that, I don't know that Sony has defense programs. Like, does Sony make missiles, cruise missiles and tanks and stuff like that? I'm not sure. They might.
No.
Not going to say categorically that they don't, but I know Samsung does, and I know LG does. And there are not a lot of companies that also make toasters. It's just...
Yeah. I mean, if nothing
else... crossover.
If nothing else, Sony probably puts all the camera sensors in those missiles.
That's fair. That's fair.
Because they put their camera sensors everywhere. It's just the way it is.
Yep.
Anyways, so moving on from the OnePlus 11 to the most interesting part of their announcements, the keyboard.
Yeah.
Now, they are partnering with Keychron on this, and if you know keyboards, if you're the type that likes mechanical keyboards or has done any research, or even me, I haven't researched mechanical keyboards, but I know Keychron because they are, like, if you're going to buy a mechanical keyboard, you're going to know about Keychron because they're one of the most popular, they're one of the best ones out there. You know, they have a series, I guess. This is under Keychron's featuring brand. So it's kind of where they can partner, or like somebody will partner with them to make a quote unquote customized keyboard. That's kind of what this is, where like if you look at the Keychron Q1 V2 is basically what this is based off of. That one has a yellow enter key and yellow escape key, whereas the OnePlus one, the OnePlus Keyboard, not the OnePlus One, because that's a different phone. The OnePlus Keyboard has a red enter key and a red escape key, although it's not. It's got a OnePlus on the escape instead of escape because OnePlus.
Right.
Also, the darker key, so it's got a charcoal type key color and a lighter gray key color. The charcoal ones are a little darker than the Keychron version, but it's still the two-tone keyboard layout. It looks good. It's probably going to be extremely, basically that Keychron Q1 V2. Wow. That's a mouthful. I thought Sony was bad at naming.
Yeah, they're not great.
But if you want a OnePlus branded version of that, then here you go.
Yeah.
It's called the Keyboard 81 Pro. Where the other 80 versions of this are, I don't know. But it's the 81 Pro.
Oh, good grief. These guys took math classes from Microsoft and learned how to count there.
Yes. Yes, they did. And now I'm trying to see what switches these have.
I would guess, just based on Keychron's kind of standard business.
It's they're blue switches. That's what it is.
Are they? They're not shipping them with other options?
You might be able to. I think. I'm not looking at like the main page for this keyboard. I'm just kind of looking at an article about it.
Right.
But it does say the company's images show off the blue switches. So
okay, yeah.
So that's the keyboard. I am interested. I'm curious I would imagine you could probably switch this out.
Well, so it's Keychron. Like that means that it should be compatible with hot swappable key switches. So you ought to be able to put any switch you want in there. If you really, it's a handsome looking board. Keychron does work they provide options for a number of different switches. Like normally you're going to find your Cherry MX, whatever switches in there.
Right.
But you can get them from a number of different manufacturers, at least as far as I can recall. I have looked into Keychron. I respect their decks, and I respect their emphasis on using quality materials and stuff like that. I did not appreciate their prices. They're quite expensive keyboards.
Yes, they are.
But good quality. And if you're into mechanical keyboards, then you're kind of used to the price premium that comes with a really good quality keyboard. So yeah, it's okay. Yeah, so I'm kind of looking through what OnePlus said here, and they do not announce specifically who's making the keys or anything like that. And I'm seeing a couple of different pictures. They've got blue switches. I'm seeing some with red switches.
Yeah, I saw that one as well.
So it's like, yeah, it could be. I'm sure there will be options.
I did see here that the keys are hot swappable, so yes, you can.
Yes.
And they do have the option for LED backlighting. Now, the keys themselves are not like, you can't get light through the keys, but it would just be a background thing, which still looks really good. I actually think I would prefer that over shining through the keys, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, the only downside then is that it doesn't help you see the legend in dark spaces. So that's
okay.
That's where having like actual shine through like double shot caps is useful.
Now, there's no price on this thing yet. Rumors are that it could be around the $120 mark, but that's rumors. But there's like, if you look at the Keychron Q1 V2 model that it's based off of, it'll probably land closer to around $200 is what some people are saying.
Yeah, I was going to say, because that's already pretty cheap for just one of their normal keyboards. And this one's it's a partnership with OnePlus, right? Like that has to cost more.
You would think so. But that is the OnePlus keyboard.
Just before we move on from the OnePlus keyboard, can I just say, I wish that Apple would do that with some of their peripherals. Like, if Apple were to partner with LG and release that quote-unquote Apple version of, like, the MX Master 3 or something like that, that would be the best peripheral decision that Apple has ever made. And if they were to partner with, somebody like Keychron that makes really high-quality keyboards and sell that as an Apple, here's the Apple version of this really high quality mechanical keyboard, it would be so much better than any of the engineering crap that they've done in-house for their peripheral devices. So Apple, pay attention. OnePlus is doing good things, not just with their phones here.
I mean, you can buy the MX Master keyboard that works with Apple.
It's true. Well, and
Apple
they have the white
version.
They have the white version of the MX Master 3 that is, there's like a special Mac version of the MX Master series. And if you get the white one, or it's kind of white, gray-ish, whatever, it matches with Apple's aesthetic very, very well. Logitech knew their audience when they designed that thing, for sure. And yeah, it's a very handsome mouse, goes very nicely on a desk with Apple. I just think that Apple could make a lot of people very happy if they were to stop making their own peripherals and start farming that out to people who focus on peripherals.
Yeah, I mean, so like you did say about the MX Master 3 mouse for Mac, that's what mine is, but mine is the black version.
Yeah,
and I like that better.
Yeah, it doesn't get gunky and gross.
My keyboard is also a Logitech. It is not the MX Master series, but it is the one keyboard that Apple sells on their website by Logitech. And it definitely has that Apple aesthetic to it. It's got the white keys, the gray background. Like, it looks like an Apple keyboard. It feels like an Apple keyboard. But it's made by Logitech. So it's actually, durable.
And it's probably better than an Apple keyboard in a lot of ways. Like, that's the thing is, I don't necessarily have a ton against Apple's keyboards. I hate the white keycaps. I think that's obnoxious because they show dirt and grime so easily. And guess what's on your fingers? Lots of dirt and oil and crap like that just sticks on your keyboard and makes it look gross. So, but on like their MacBook Pros and stuff like that, where they have black keycaps, they're fine. Like, they're absolutely fine. And for a low profile laptop keyboard, it's okay. It's fine. But that's what they also sell on their desktops, which is just like, you've got a little bit of extra space with it sitting on a desktop. You could make the keyboard better, but no, they're just like, now we're just going to repackage the laptop version. And they've stopped trying to do any kind of development with their mice. And they're just like, you know what? Just bigger trackpads from the laptops. Because the trackpads on the laptops are outstanding. Yes. They're amazing. Best in the market. Absolutely. And they work just fine as an input device for a desktop as well, I suppose. But really? That's all you're doing is just repackaging the technology you're putting in your... Like, honestly, if that's all the effort you're going to put into your desktop peripherals, Apple, you may as well do what OnePlus has done here. Go to a company who actually engineers desktop peripherals and have them do it for you.
Yeah. I would definitely... it's interesting because I have, like I said, I've got that keyboard that's the white keycaps, gray background, and I actually don't have that problem of the white keys are still white. I wonder, it must be something different that Logitech is doing
Yeah, maybe it's just the material
materials,
Apple
because,
makes the
I mean,
keycaps out of.
Yeah, because, I mean, like you said, Logitech has been doing peripherals forever. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that they know that these actually, stay clean.
Yeah. Now, listener, if you go to the Calling All Platforms Tech YouTube channel, our most recent video is me ranting about Apple's mice. So this is obviously fresh in my memory.
Yeah. Their mice
but
are so bad.
doing the research for that video, I discovered that, I knew Logitech had been around for a very long time, making computer peripherals for a very long time. Come to find out, Logitech has actually been making mice longer than Apple, which kind of surprises me when you consider that Apple released the first GUI-based mass-market computer. Like, there were GUIs before that, but they were all, like, basically just kind of very, very high-end, like, server stuff and like, manufacturing type things. Not the kind of thing you would sell to the masses. And they were from companies like Xerox and IBM that kind of made everything in-house. I didn't expect to find a peripheral manufacturer making mice for those applications that far back. But 1982, Logitech released their first mouse for a Xerox system. So, yeah, that's wild. Turns out Logitech has been doing this longer than Apple. And I would say it shows, but companies that have been doing this for significantly less time than Apple also make much better input devices than Apple. So, Apple just phones it in, and that's the problem here. And like I said, if they're just going to phone it in, do what OnePlus is doing, like phone it in by getting somebody else who actually does this and does it well to do it for you.
Yes.
So
I agree.
Good job, OnePlus, is basically what I'm coming down on. I like this concept.
Yes, I do as well. I mean, if you're it's interesting because they're making a keyboard and they don't have anything that a keyboard is really effective for.
That's true. I guess it makes a little bit less sense for them than it would for a company like Apple, but I'm not going to complain.
I mean, you could probably use this keyboard with their OnePlus Pad tablet.
That's
we're
true.
Talk about,
yeah.
So.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
All right. The OnePlus Pad is a tablet. Why they called it the Pad? I don't
Originality.
know. Something. I don't know. I haven't seen a lot on this thing. It's kind of it's a weird looking design, mostly because the camera on the back of it is this really large looking thing right in the top center of it. It's like if you were to be looking at the screen and where you have the front facing camera, flip it over, there's your rear facing camera, but like 10 times the size. It's massive.
Okay.
Yeah. It's interesting. Specs on this thing, it's got a MediaTek Dimensity 9000 processor, which I've actually, that's their flagship processor. And from what I understand, MediaTek processors have gotten a lot better over the years.
Yeah.
Which is good. So,
I'm not going to... terrible to begin with, that's for sure.
Yes, definitely. They were, all your low-end phones would mostly have MediaTek processors, but now, especially outside of the US, a lot of high-end phones are getting these MediaTek processors and just fine. It's got 12 gigs of RAM. I'm not seeing anything about storage space, so that's fun. It's running.
It has none.
Yeah, it's running Oxygen OS 13. The battery's a 9,510 milliamp hour battery. So quite large, but it is a tablet, so I would hope so. It's got USB-C. The rear camera is a 13 megapixel. The front is an 8 megapixel. And then the screen size is 11.6 inches. It's an LCD display at 144 hertz.
Oh.
So that's kind of nice.
Yeah, no, that is good.
It's got a metal back, which is also handy. I mean, it's probably relatively durable. Like I said, it doesn't look bad other than I just don't like that giant camera on the back. That's weird.
I mean, I've got to be honest, ever since Apple started putting their giant pro camera arrays on the back of their iPads, I'm just like, please stop this. Stop stop putting, like, companies, stop putting rear-facing cameras on your tablets.
Yes.
And humans, stop taking pictures with your tablets. Like, it's obnoxious.
The only place that a camera on a tablet might, I say might be useful is in enterprise. And that's one reason Apple did, like, that was the first device that had the LiDAR sensor on it, if I remember correctly, was the iPad Pro. And now that, I mean, they've got that now on the iPhone Pros. So do we need it on the iPad anymore?
Yeah, I mean, I will say that if you're using your tablet for video calls, FaceTime and stuff like that, which, you know, lots of people do, big screen, it's nice. And grandma and grandpa, it's their only, you know, smart device. So yeah, okay. Then it is nice sometimes to just be able to switch it around to show somebody something on the call. And yeah, okay, I get that. In which case, the rear-facing camera should be exactly the same camera sensor as the front-facing camera. It doesn't have to be nicer. It just has to be the same, right? Just put the same sensor on both sides, and then you don't have to have giant camera bumps and crap like that on the back of your freaking tablets. Just stop it. Anyways, yeah, that's... Yep. It's nice to know that Apple aren't the only ones doing this.
No, it's unfortunate because everyone does.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. But yeah, that's the OnePlus tablet. Not even seeing a price on this thing.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Random, but all right.
Got to be a price somewhere. I don't care enough. Nobody's going to buy it. All right, moving on.
Fair enough.
The OnePlus Buds Pro 2.
It's a great name. Love it.
Earbud names. Sony has the worst ones, but nobody else does a really better job at it.
Yeah.
Anyways, these do have noise cancellation, which is nice. You can listen with one earbud at a time, which is also nice. Bluetooth 5.3, IP55 rating, so decent for working out.
Yep.
They have USB-C and wireless charging on the case, which is also really nice. And they are $179. So that's not bad.
That's
for the
solid.
specs. I mean, that's fairly common, I guess. Around that $200 mark for noise canceling earbuds at this point is usually what you're going to be getting. There are some for cheaper. There are definitely some for more. But and I've heard good things about OnePlus's earbuds. I don't know. I mean, they're not going to be the best option out there, but they're going to be better than some. And for the price, I don't think you can go wrong with these earbuds, especially if you have a OnePlus phone, because they are limiting the spatial audio feature, I believe that this has, to if you have a OnePlus phone, which is so stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, but come on, man. That's just...
It's like on the one hand, I get it slightly because when Apple does it, because Apple's designing the entire software stack and everything for their phone. They're not actually designing the headphones to work with anyone else's phone. The fact that they do work with other phones is just kind of a nice side effect of Bluetooth being a relatively open standard.
Yeah. And I still think spatial audio works on other phones. It's just not
Does it?
It's just not fixed to the phone like it does on Apple's.
Oh.
If I remember correctly, I think that's right. I haven't tried it because I don't have another phone.
Well, okay, so that's not spatial audio. That's like Dolby Atmos.
So tomato, basically.
I mean, what makes it the spatial audio is that it's fixed to a point. So Dolby Atmos works, but spatial audio, I'm actually surprised that Atmos works, honestly. If I'm honest, it's Apple. It wouldn't surprise me to find out that they'd lock something like that away.
That's fair. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I think so. Either way. But yeah, that is something that it does only with these earbuds. If you have a OnePlus phone, it'll work. If you don't, too bad. But that is all the stuff that OnePlus announced this week. Lots of things. The phone is the most important, probably the only one that's really getting most people care about. I think the earbuds will probably sell pretty well. They usually do. The keyboard and the tablet, on the other hand, especially the keyboard, I just don't
really random
fully understand that one. I like it, but it's just weird. And then the tablet, as a horrible name, and it's their first go at a tablet, so maybe
and it's running Android, and I don't know.
Android tablets just aren't great, unfortunately.
They just have never been good. I don't know.
Yeah. But that's all of my tech news for this week.
Oh, well, all right then. That's good. Nice to have some hardware news to talk about. It's fun when new hardware comes out. All right. I'll pick it up then. I do have some tech news, and it's not hardware related. In fact, it's AI related, which is so much worse. Okay. Good times. All right. So, listener, you may recall a couple of weeks ago, Wes brought up that people were talking about how Bing was going to quantum leap Google in search engine terms because of AI and stuff like that. And we talked a little bit about it at the time, about what the existence of ChatGPT might mean for Bing and how that could affect Google. Turns out it has, in fact, changed some things. So, as we had kind of predicted, as the rumors held, Microsoft has, in fact, started integrating ChatGPT functionality into Bing and the Edge browser. So you can actually currently, as of this past week, you can go to Bing, which I know is a weird thing that people do sometimes, I swear. And you can perform your searches in a very conversational way, and ChatGPT will help you out with your searching. There's also like an integrated chat functionality, like there's a new chat tab in Bing that I don't think works for everyone. Like it's a kind of a limited rollout thing for certain people with Microsoft accounts when you sign into Bing. But that's also there. So kind of a ChatGPT chatbot that's a little bit, so I guess it's different than ChatGPT itself, simply because ChatGPT did not have access to the internet. ChatGPT had access to a snapshot of the internet that it used for its learning process and data gathering. And so, information that it had was kind of limited to a specific time period in like early 2020, I think, or something like that. And it did not have information beyond that and that sort of thing. And that was because it was just for development purposes, right? They were building out the AI model. Now that the AI model has been proved out and is actually pretty effective, Microsoft is now giving it access to the internet. So it can, via Bing, give you up-to-date information on a whole bunch of stuff. And ChatGPT is a very impressive AI model. So this has so far been going pretty well for Microsoft. Bing looks like it's implementing this quite nicely. On the flip side, and I think this is where this has actually kind of had a big impact, because I don't think that the introduction of ChatGPT to Bing is going to make everybody start binging everything. I don't think it's not. It's still not a verb, Microsoft, as much as you want it to be. Google did announce the existence of their own AI similar to ChatGPT based on their larger language model, the name of which I cannot remember.
Lambda, that's the one. I don't remember what it stands for, but it's there.
Yeah, it stands for something. But yes, so Lambda, Lambda is kind of the AI language model that has been underpinning the Assistant on Android and quite a lot of stuff that Google has done with the Google Assistant, simply because it's good at conversing, like it's a language model. It's supposed to be very conversational. And we've seen over the years that Google is quite a ways ahead of, until just recently, has been quite a ways ahead of everybody else in terms of that conversational nature to their stuff. But they're like, okay, we've got our own AI chatbot that we're going to integrate into Google, that we are going to, give access to everything on the internet and let people start using it. And it's called, what did they call it? I can't remember.
Bard. B-A-R-D.
Bard. That was it. So the Bard chatbot. And they launched that this past week as well, with an advertisement that had somebody asking it a question and it straight up just gave the wrong answer. So, and it's like the most, I think, embarrassing part of it was that it was a wrong answer that you could easily find the right answer by doing a Google search. And the first result, in fact, it's the kind of thing where the first result has a pretty obvious answer that Google pulls out of it and pastes the text verbatim at the top of the search results because the Google algorithm for search is really good at that sort of thing. So if you Google it, you get it right. But if you ask Google's AI, it gets it wrong. So that's kind of embarrassing. At the same time, ChatGPT is hardly perfect and has totally answered wrong questions and provided, like, very confidently provided wrong information to people before.
Yeah.
So, this is just a problem with AI. It's artificial. It's not actually intelligent.
Yeah.
So, something to bear in mind. And everybody, what I think is the most funny about this is that after this happened, right, it was like Microsoft and then Google kind of fired back. And we had that moment where it actually did look like Google was a little bit afraid of Microsoft, kind of like their hand had been forced with Bard to push it out faster or sooner than they wanted to. And here's an example of it getting something wrong right out the gate. And because that happened, Google's stock tanked. They lost $100 million in valuation in an hour or something like that. So yeah, that was a thing that happened, which is bizarre to me because apparently people that play the stock market don't pay attention to AI because ChatGPT has been wrong for a lot of things for the entire time that it's been around. So this isn't new. Okay, whatever. Mostly AI is being implemented into more and interesting things. And, sure. It's like we said, you're going to be able to hopefully get its assistance with your web searches here in the near future, and it will hopefully be useful. But bear in mind that it's artificial intelligence. It's not actual intelligence, and it is going to screw stuff up and not have any idea that it doesn't know what it's talking about and just very confidently tell you the wrong thing. Listener, you absolutely know some humans that do that from time to time too. Pay attention to it. But it's just bizarre to me that so many people think this is such a huge deal that, Microsoft is super they've jumped ahead of Google and stuff like that. I'm like, nah, it's just a thing that happened. Google's got a little bit of egg on their face. And ChatGPT does look very good, and I'm sure Microsoft is going to do their best to implement it in ways that make sense. But Bing is still Bing and Google is still Google. And they're still different for all of the reasons you're already aware of, listener. And if you haven't been using Bing already, this is not a reason to switch.
No.
So,
and honestly, this type of AI inside of search, to me, doesn't make the most sense. I liked the idea of of Microsoft implementing this into their Office suite. It made more sense to me there.
Yeah.
But and putting it into search, I didn't think about this fully until I've listened to a few different podcasts talking about this, specifically ones that are created by tech blogs, and their concern, and it's not just going to affect them in this way, it's going to affect a lot of different websites in particular, because what this AI could potentially do is if you're asking it certain questions, and the one that they came up with is, give me the top 10 TVs to buy.
Yep.
And most of the time, if you search for that, you're going to come up with a lot of different articles that are going to give you opinions on these TVs, not just specs and stuff or popular or different things like that. Whereas the AI is going to come up with 10 different TVs based on certain things it finds on the internet, for sure. But you're now potentially not going to go to these websites. You're not going to give these websites views, which is how they're going to make money. And so these websites are going to stop making these articles, which is going to stop feeding this AI information about this stuff, which is going to make the AI, in that sense, not obsolete,
worse,
but less useful. And it's
it'll be dumber, basically.
Yeah. And it's kind of, I don't know, it's interesting. So it's going to affect the bloggers, these websites that create these articles. And it's going to affect them financially because nobody's going to come to these websites anymore, potentially. And then it's because of that, it's going to affect the AI because they won't be able to get the information that it needs to feed you what you're looking for. So it's kind of, it's interesting. Yep. So that's why AI and search, this specific type of AI inside of search it needs a lot of work.
Yeah.
In order to be effective.
I absolutely agree with that take. I think that there's a real concern about the idea that, yeah, if you ask an AI for advice, like purchasing advice on something, it's going to go out to all of the articles that have given advice on that thing. It's going to aggregate them, probably find out which one is the most highly recommended, generally speaking, and then tell you, well, on the internet at large, this one is the most highly recommended. And okay, that's nice. It does the research for you, essentially. But yeah, like if you're not getting clicks, then suddenly that content doesn't generate money for the people writing about it, which means they stop writing about it, which means the AI is now dumb in regards to this stuff and doesn't have the information. And so what you're going to end up with is a whole bunch of amateur bloggers who do not actually have the we'll say the ability to rigorously test all of the available options for a given product, kindly, because they may not be able to buy as much as they need to, and they're going to be the only ones writing about stuff in that space. And suddenly what's the best TV? It's just whatever the most popular one on Amazon is, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
And suddenly the AI just becomes really stupid, and that's awful. I will say there is another aspect to their implementation of AI in Bing that I think is just a net positive for pretty much everyone, in that it makes it a little bit less obtuse to try and get exactly the right search that you want. Because it's better at parsing conversational language, you can just search conversationally. And it will, and you can stack multiple searches together in that way, and it will help you find what you're looking for more effectively. And for those that do not have good Google Foo, that could be extremely useful. But like Landon said, that's not the only part of the AI model that is being implemented in search, and there are other very concerning things that could come out of this. So yeah, I don't know. Like maybe we just need to get it so that every time an AI looks at a website, that registers as a click.
Yeah,
for advertising purposes, except for the ads don't get fed. I don't know.
Yeah,
how does this make sense?
Yeah, nobody could really think of the way that it would still work.
Yeah,
but and like even like going back to that conversational thing, it's like I think that'll make desktop conversational search better, because right now that's not really a thing. But if you're on an iPhone or an Android phone, you're using, I mean, even Siri does okay when it comes to conversational stuff. But if you're using Google Assistant and you're doing, like, you're actually speaking to it or even typing into it on your phone, the conversational aspect is there and it works really well on Google Assistant. I've never tried it on desktop, but so I can't vouch for that. But I know on the phone, at least, it works well.
There's no real integration between Google Assistant and the Google search engine itself. Yeah. Like if you're doing the search through the Assistant itself,
right,
then that's using the Google backend with the front end of the Assistant. But if you're just on Google's website searching, there's nothing. You have to, if you want to search with certain terms excluded, you can't just say, oh, I want to look for these things, but leave out anything that is this. You can't just say that. You have to do the whole like parentheses with a minus sign and all that like stuff in order to get the algorithm to parse it correctly. And so, the conversational aspect is going to be nice for that sort of thing without having to go through the Assistant. And honestly, the Assistant uses Lambda, which is what Bard is built off of. Yeah. And Bard is supposed to be Google's answer to ChatGPT, which makes me think that the Google Assistant is probably already pretty good at this sort of thing. Whether or not ChatGPT and Bing, their implementation of it is going to be better, I guess we'll find out here in the coming weeks.
Yeah, I mean, ChatGPT is definitely better when it comes to just creating text information.
Yes.
Than Google Assistant is. But Google Assistant was not made for that. And that's, right. I mean, and we don't know how long they've been working on this Bard product, but they've been working on Lambda. I think they announced it in 2017.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's been around a while.
So they've been working on that aspect of stuff for a while. That's why Google Assistant is what Google Assistant is. And so they've got, obviously they have some work to do with Bard, but ChatGPT has stuff to work on with that too. I mean, it's it's kind of a toss-up. I mean, right now I think ChatGPT is better when it comes to that type of thing, but that's partially because it's open source, and funnily enough, it's built off of Lambda as well.
Yep.
So
for the language processing. Yep.
So it's like,
Yep. No, it's very much a case of it looks like Microsoft is slightly ahead in terms of implementing this into their search.
Right.
And I think that's the only concrete thing you can say. Bard looks like it was a little bit rushed.
Yeah.
And they were doing that in response to Microsoft's stuff with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
And I think it, like you said, we're being rushed. I think that's a lot to do with people that are reading headlines and don't really follow the technology super closely. We're thinking, oh, Microsoft is going to overtake Google because obviously,
right.
But when they don't really know what's going on behind the scenes, like people that follow technology like we do, we're like, good job, Microsoft. This is going to be awesome. But you're not going to take over Google like that, or even within the next 5 years, because Google's been working on this in the background for way longer, and they know what they are doing when it comes to AI.
Basically, when it comes right down to it, this was a blow for Google. Yeah. Good job, Microsoft. You definitely actually did something, which is good in this space, considering that Bing has basically no market share in comparison to Google. But this is not doom and gloom for Google. This is not even a major setback. This is just kind of a minor inconvenience. And it's way too early in the game to say whether or not this is going to mean anything long term. So, take a deep breath and we'll just move on. Keep doing your searches wherever you've been doing your searches. This is worth keeping an eye on, but it's not worth changing your habits over at the moment. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. So that was my one piece of tech news that I have today. So, let's just get into gaming. Do you have any gaming stuff, Landon? Oh my goodness. It happened.
I do have gaming. And Wes isn't even here to be happy about it.
He's not. Poor guy. He's missing out.
Although, he would probably have thoughts on this. So, this isn't anything that's officially announced. But I had to talk about this because this could change the game when it comes to Chromebooks. Not necessarily gaming Chromebooks, but just Chromebooks. Because Chromebooks are definitely the most popular laptop/device used in schools. Yes. Because they're inexpensive, they work really well, they do everything 100% of elementary students and 95% of high school students and 90% of college students need a laptop to do. So that's why they are as popular as they are. And that's why this in particular could be a game changer for Chromebooks. Minecraft to Chromebooks. Or to Chrome.
Oh.
Now, again, it hasn't been officially announced, but there are things in the background that are making it seem like this is going to be coming relatively soon.
Okay.
Now, if you can get Minecraft on Chrome, which is a very popular game, especially for those younger kids in elementary school and high school,
Oh, yes.
And you get this onto their devices, they're going to want these devices at home, not just at school, which means more purchasing. And if they get them at home, they're using them both at school and at home. They're going to be using them for a long time.
Yep. Oh, man, that's actually kind of a huge deal.
Yeah.
I will say, I think, technically, Minecraft is the top-selling game of all time.
Probably.
Currently. I think it is. And which makes a certain amount of sense when you keep in mind that Minecraft runs on almost everything that Doom runs on at this point.
I was going to say, it's kind of like Doom because it can run on so many things.
Oh, yeah. All over the place. So, it already runs on Android tablets and phones. Like, it can't be that hard to port to Chrome. So,
and in that sense, in that way, you probably can play this on Chrome tablets because if you have the Play Store on there, you can download it on there and just run the Android emulation of it, basically.
Right.
But if they get an official Chrome version...
Yeah, then I'll bet it'll run way better running natively like that. Because doing the Android emulation, I mean, it's emulating Linux in Linux. It's pretty lightweight, I'm sure, but it's not going to be as lightweight as just having it run natively. So yeah, no, that's pretty cool. Interesting.
Yeah. And what I am seeing, though, is there is a trial version of this right now as well.
Oh. Okay.
Now, the trial version is just survival mode, and each session is limited to 90 minutes per world.
Okay.
But, I mean, that's still a, decent amount of gameplay that you can do.
Yeah. I mean,
in survival
it's for
mode.
testing purposes, it's... But yeah, no, that's cool.
But yeah, I think that will be... I mean, it's not going to be a game changer for Minecraft by any means, because Minecraft is already huge. It's already popular. Yes. But for Chrome, for Chrome OS and Chromebooks, I mean, that's a big deal. And then when you get Steam officially launched on Chrome OS as well, you got Minecraft to get these kids starting gaming on this device. Then they grow up a little bit and they get into Steam.
Then there's Steam.
They don't have to buy a new device. They might buy a better version of the Chromebook or something. But they don't need to buy
Chrome already. They'll be like, I'll just get another Chromebook.
Yeah.
Wild. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Interesting.
Now, obviously, time will tell. But this is I think a big deal for Chrome OS.
Yeah. No, it really could be. It really could be. Huh. Well, good job, Minecraft and Google. Honestly, I guess this is more of like a good job for Google and getting Minecraft onto Chrome.
Yeah,
because that's going to be a big deal for them. And honestly, like having Chromebooks everywhere in the education system was already good.
Really big. Yeah,
for the adoption of Chromebooks and stuff like that out in the world. But I think you're absolutely right. If they can get them to want to use this at home and away from home, and it's their school device, it's their gaming device, it's everything, parents are going to love that. They don't have to buy them an Xbox and a Chromebook. They can just buy the Chromebook.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
And I wonder if Microsoft sees this and is thinking, we're going to lose hardware sales because now they can just buy a Chromebook. They don't have to buy the Xbox. But we're not making any money on that hardware anyways. What they could do is start streaming Xbox cloud games to this Chromebook as well. Maybe we can sell them on that. Like, there's a long play here.
I believe Xbox Cloud Gaming is available on Chrome, the browser.
Yes.
So I don't know why it wouldn't work on Chrome. Like, if you just open up the Chrome browser on Chrome OS, you could do that as well. So they're getting customers either way. And that's, like you said, that's where Microsoft makes its money, is their software. They don't make money on hardware. It's been proven time and time again. They don't care as much about the hardware. I mean, they like people to buy the Xbox. That's for sure. But the fact that they've made xCloud available everywhere and the ability to play their games everywhere proves that they're in it for the software.
All of these companies would much rather sell you a service than a piece of hardware, because the margins on the services are way better.
Yes, drastically better. So they're more than okay, probably, with, you go buy a Chromebook, play our games, pay us money that way.
Wow, that's wild. That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's my gaming news, and it was good. And not mobile.
That is. And not mobile, technically.
Technically.
All right. Well, hey, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. I like it. Okay. I don't have... let's take the tone down a little bit. I'm a downer today. Here I am. Okay, Nvidia. Let's talk about Nvidia. So, a little bit ago, they launched a new graphics card, 4070 Ti. It's, not as good as the 4080, turns out. Go figure. What are the odds?
Weird.
They also launched new laptop GPUs in the 40 series, right? Got them 4080 and 4090 laptop GPUs. That's right, an RTX 4090 in a laptop. But here's the deal, listener. I'm not going to go through the individual specs of these graphics cards and these graphics processors with you. We're not going to talk about their relative performance to other things on the market, because what I really want to talk about is how Nvidia sucks. and we hate them. No, Nvidia. All right. So put it to you this way. The 4070 Ti performs fine, costs more than it should. The 40 series laptop chips, like the cheapest laptop that you can buy with an RTX 4090 mobile chip in it, is $3,500. If you would like kind of the median price for them, so like not the cheapest possible one, but not the most expensive, just kind of in the middle, those are all about $4,500, and you can spend over $5,000 on these things. I'm not talking about like if you spec them to the max with like 128 gigs of RAM and a 4 terabyte hard drive or something like that. I'm talking about the base model entry level for some of these laptops is over $5,000.
Whoa.
So a significant chunk of that is going to the Nvidia 4090 graphics processor that is inside, because obviously Nvidia, anything that has a 4090 on it, they see that as an excuse to print money. Problem being, the specs of the chip that they're calling a 4090 inside these laptops it's basically a 4080 desktop chip. And in terms of performance, it's going to perform much more similarly to a 4080 desktop chip than a 4090 desktop chip. Why are they calling it a 4090? Because they're scumbags. That's just what it comes right down to. They are trying to fool consumers into thinking, yes, desktop class replacement laptop, like I don't need to buy my super tricked out workstation. I can just buy this laptop instead. And that, there's going to be enough people that don't do the research before they make that decision that it'll work. They'll sell an enormous amount of money which they can, because it's got a 4090 in it. Everybody's going to see that and think this is the most powerful graphics card that you can get right now. And it's in a laptop. Absolutely, I'm willing to pay $5,500 for that.
I mean, I'd be willing to bet that this is just a higher binned version of the 4080.
It's honestly probably not even that. Like, there are some technical differences. It is, okay, I will say, it uses the same core architecture as the 4080 and the same size die as the 4080. Like, it's a very similar physical chip to the 4080. I don't know that I would say binned better, but binned differently. It has a different set of performance characteristics than the 4080 in some aspects, like the memory channel communications and stuff like that are slightly different. And so it's probably a case where they're taking 4080 chips for, desktop chips that are not quite 4080 spec, that are not quite landing where the spec for that is, but they're pretty close. And so instead of taking them and going, we'll just put them in 4070 Ti's instead, which is what the 4070 Ti is, basically the 4080 chips that aren't good enough to be 4080s, they're 4070 Ti's now. And so, but they're close enough that they're like, you know what, we could just take those and put them over in these laptops and call them 4090s, and then people will pay out the wazoo for them. And like, on the one hand, you can't put a desktop 4090 chip into a laptop. You just can't. They use way too much power. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Like, you can barely even put something like that into a portable computer that uses an external power brick, right? Like, external power bricks do not ship powerful enough to power a 4090. That's not a thing. So obviously, you can't do that. The highest end you could possibly put into a laptop is a 4080. Okay, that's fair. Did you have to call it a 4090 though? No, you didn't. But they did anyways. And everything Nvidia does is like blatantly anti-consumer and just generally kind of a middle finger to their customers. And the thing that really sucks is that in this GPU market, it's very difficult to vote in the only way that matters to these companies, which is with your wallet, because your other option is to get an AMD graphics card, which in terms of their laptop offerings, is pretty slim. It's kind of difficult to find AMD graphics cards in a laptop. Or you can buy a Mac. Those are all Apple powered now, so I guess that's a middle finger to Nvidia. Actually, Nvidia hates Apple, so yes, just buying a Mac is a middle finger to Nvidia. Or you can get Intel. Like, they do have Intel powered laptops that have Intel graphics cards in them. Honestly, probably about as many as AMD, it seems like at this point, because Intel did have some partnerships, but there's still not like a ton of options for that. I don't know. It might make a little bit of sense to get an A770 ARC GPU to compete with the 4070 Ti, because at least in terms of performance, they're closer, but it's still like, what are your options? And at this point, they're just not great. In terms of gaming, in the end, listener, I think this is where I'm coming down. I hate Nvidia, and I've not liked Nvidia for quite some time. The last Nvidia graphics card that I bought was a 750 Ti, and yeah, I just have not been a big fan of the way Nvidia has been handling their business ever since then. Haven't been a big fan of most of AMD's GPUs since then, so, like, I've bought a couple of GPUs since then, but they were kind of mid-range, like whatever I could get on sale, because I didn't really want to give AMD a bunch of money either, because they were just kind of not performing very well. They're performing better now, but their prices are also catching up to Nvidia, so that's not cool. And so, yeah, like, I guess my other option is to buy an Arc GPU, or to not buy a new GPU for my gaming PC, which I'm getting kind of to the point where I need one. And honestly, at this point, I'm sort of thinking that maybe I replace the entire thing with a Steam Deck.
There you go.
Like, that's where I'm coming down. Don't buy GPUs. Don't upgrade your computer, listener. Buy a Steam Deck. It's a weird time we live in.
Yeah.
So that's obviously not the final word on the subject, and I will continue to look at GPUs, and we'll be talking about them again soon, I'm sure. Rumors actually have that there's a 4070 non-TI coming out soon, and we can see whether or not that's as much of a ripoff as the rest of the 40 series. But until then, just not happy with the GPU market right now, and Nvidia's blatantly anti-consumerism behavior, and AMD, they're kind of mimicking Nvidia in all of the wrong ways in a lot of places. So slightly better, but still not great. And Intel, gosh darn it, good for you, Intel. Those Arc GPUs, they're not amazing, but they're doing all right. And they keep releasing driver updates that are actually adding like double-digit performance improvements to the graphics cards. So anybody who bought an Arc GPU, every time they update their driver, it gets better. So, like, that's good. I'm glad that's happening. So at least there's that small ray of hope. Okay. So that's my downer gaming news. I'm going to now talk about non-downer gaming news. I'm going to now, well, you know what, we're just going to jump right into basically everyone's favorite segment on the show about how Doom modders are just the best people on the internet. So, several things happened this past week in the world of Doom. On the one hand, a bunch of crypto bros decided to run Doom on Bitcoin. I don't know how that works. I don't know how that makes any sense. I didn't actually read the article about it because they are not Doom modders. They're not operating in the space and the spirit of Doom modding. They're crypto bros, and I do not respect them. On the other hand, there's a dude who thought to himself, I really want a multi-monitor Doom setup. And then thought to himself, you know what? The first, version 1.1 of Doom was designed to run on DOS in 1993. So here's what I'm going to do. Doom on 4 monitors running in DOS. Now, listener, if you are old or have done a little bit of research into the history of computing, you may be aware that DOS, famously, not really a multi-monitor operating system.
No.
It didn't have a graphical user interface. There was no reason to have more than one monitor. It was just lines of text. There's no reason. There's no point to it. You cannot hook up multiple monitors to a DOS-based operating system and expect anything to happen. Second monitor just sits there. So, okay, what kind of stupid decision is this? So here's what he did. He got 4 computers, 4 physical boxes running DOS, installed version 1.1 of Doom onto all 4 of them with their 4 separate monitors arrayed next to each other on a table, and then he synced the game between all 4 computers until he got them all running the same way at the same time. So that he could have a multi-monitor Doom setup. So what you've got one monitor in the center that has, the main screen with all the stats and stuff at the bottom, and then 2 monitors to off to either side that show you kind of like a, not quite 90 degrees. I think it was like a 80, 75 degree kind of but like a peripheral view, right? Like what's off to the side of you. And then the fourth monitor was sitting up above, and I think that was mostly showing you, it had like the map of the level and like I think some stats and stuff like that on it. I think that was all that was on there, because looking up and down in Doom is not super important. There's very little vertical change in Doom, so you don't really need like a 90-degree up view. But yeah, he got it working, and then made the statement, this is kind of a dumb way to play the game, but here you go. I did it. And I love that attitude. He was all like, you know what? This is a cool thing. It would be hilarious. It would be awesome if I could get it to work. Does it make sense? Not really.
No.
But flippin', who cares? And so, yeah, there you go. Multi-monitor Doom game on the original DOS. Good job, dude.
You know the phrase that people were so caught up on whether they could, they didn't think about whether they should. That phrase does not apply to Doom modders in any way, because they don't need to think about whether it should be done. It just needs to be done.
Exactly.
And this is that. This is a perfect example of that, and it's fantastic.
The world is better for this person's efforts. So, good job. We appreciate it. Never change. Doom modders. Excellent. All right. So that then brings us to the end of the podcast, unless you have one more thing, Landon.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. So thank you for joining with us. A little bit of a slower news week, listener, but you know what? We had some new hardware, a couple of things for me to rant about, and Doom. I feel like that's all you need for a good episode of the Tech News.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
Thank you for joining with us. Thank you for listening. Wish Wes a happy recovery from having to work. And, hopefully he'll be back next week. In the meantime, if you would like to, you can check out our YouTube channel over on Calling All Platforms Gaming, Calling All Platforms Tech on YouTube. If you would like to, hear me talk some more, which that's weird, frankly. Or if you would like to, you can hop over to our social medias. If you would like to get in touch with us, you can email us as well at podcast@callingallplatforms.com. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. I can never remember. We're also, on Twitter and Facebook and stuff. You can also head over to patreon.com/callingallplatforms and throw a couple of bucks toward Landon to help support the podcast, and also force me and or Wes to use phones we don't want to use or play games we don't want to play. Apparently, I've been volunteered to play Age of Empires with a controller.
Yes, that was my fault.
If that happens, so if you want to see that be a thing, definitely just head over to Patreon and check that out. So thank you for joining with us, listener, and until next week, see ya.
Bye-bye.
Calling All Platforms is a production of Supporter Sound Studios. To learn more about how you can support the podcast, go to www.patreon.com/callingallplatforms.